When I heard we were making a documentary about mental health challenges in the bleeding disorders community, I knew I had to be involved. But I had no idea it was going to completely change the trajectory of my life. Hi. My name's Joshua Sterling Bragg, and I'm the creative director at Believe Limited. At the tail end of 2019, just as the coronavirus was starting to rear its head in America, I was climbing an icy mountain with a documentary crew. It was a tough 80-minute hike through steep ice and snow, but we knew it had to be done. See, at the top, standing on the edge of a very particular cliff, we were honored with the opportunity to hear the story of the day Chris Husky decided not to end his life there.
You know how people say like your lives flash before your eyes? For me, it was newspaper headlines. The newspaper headlines, they read, "Counselor found dead, new regulations for camp." You know, the other counselors I was with, they find my body, they would be devastated. I'm sure they needed therapy. There were hundreds of these headlines that just like flew through my mind in moments. And only then did my heart start beating fast, and only then did I shudder. I almost fell by accident. But I found my grip and I found my balance, and I climbed back up and climbed back down. I went back to the campsite, and some people started to wake up. You know, they asked me where I was, and I said I was just admiring the view. It was nothing. They never knew how different it could have been.
Let's Talk premiered just over a year ago, and today, in honor of World Mental Health Day, we're going to see what a few of our subjects have been up to, how their lives have changed since sitting down for their interviews almost 2 years ago, and what their mental health journey looks like today. All right. Hey, Chris, how have you been?
Been good. Thanks. Yeah, for the most part. I had kind of a trying year. I had a house fire, and that was terrible, but we made through it, and then I've been having some medical issues since then. My back, my knee, my foot, it's all kind of falling apart together. But I'm still in high hopes, high spirits, as always.
That's good. I mean, has it been hard to stay in high hopes like that?
Not really. I mean, for me, my whole life, life is just a roller coaster, right? You got your ups, you got your downs, you got your happy times, you got your bad times. And for me, every time I've had a bad time, I always referenced my life experience, what happened to me, my suicide attempt, and how I overcame it, and how that changed my entire perspective of life. I've always tried to focus on the happiness in life, because even in the worst of times, there's always good things there and positive things there. Like I had the house fire, I said, but I had family who took me in, and I was able to live with them, and I didn't have to worry about, you know, living in a hotel or something like that. And the community came together and really helped us out a lot, and it was awesome. So yeah, there's always, you know, there's ups and downs in life, and at my lowest points in my life, I always internally kind of reference this story, and it always helps me in one way or another.
So you've had a couple of hard times in the past year, but have there been any achievements, big or small?
Yeah, it's a huge one. I am currently engaged to the love of my life, so that recently happened, and that's a huge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I went to meet Esther for the first time in a local park here in Los Angeles. It was just me and the director of Let's Talk, Rob Bradford, with a camera, a mic, some N95 masks, and a very long lens. The pandemic had hit full force, but Esther had an important part of the story to tell as someone who was just starting out on a new path. Esther was navigating the first few years as a mother to a son with a bleeding disorder.
We didn't sleep for the first few nights after diagnosis because we had so many questions and so many worries of how are we going to bathe him? Like, can we just have him sit up? Like, what if he tips over, and babies tip over when they're little? And how is he going to play in our house? When someone has hemophilia and they get prophylactic treatment, you get all your supplies at one time, and it comes in a big box. So getting that in the mail, the first time I got it, I did cry. I did. Like, oh my God, this is a lot of stuff. This is a lot. And I called a friend whose son had cancer, and I said, how did you deal with it? And she had to treat him too for quite a while, like a few months. And said, how did you deal with, like, I gotta prepare these kits for him with all the supplies that he needs. And there's so many things, and gloves and masks, and every time I put them together, I think even still now when I get it, it's like, but this is what we do.
Kids grow up so quickly, and so it was no surprise when I followed up with Esther that the whole family was preparing for the next big step.
My son completed preschool and is off to kindergarten. With kindergarten entering a public school system, it's a whole new set of things I have to do to advocate for him. At a preschool, it was private. So we had a a personal care plan, and it was sort of easy. It was sort of personal, and now it's a public school system, and things have to be on record, and more forms have to be filled out. And I was diligent, and I got ahead of the game in the summer, contacted the school and let them know he's coming. Now that he's in, I got to step up my advocacy and follow up and demand a 504 plan. I was still sort of in that early stage of being overwhelmed by all the things that I need to treat my son on a daily basis. Now we're a lot more comfortable with that. Also, letting our son be part of the whole act of giving him his factor treatment. We allow him now, he can push the medication through. He's made so much progress in that. He takes some deep breaths, and it's really cute to watch him like, okay, the needle's coming in. And he takes these deep breaths. And so I really feel like he's made some great strides in that of like accepting this is his life. This is something he has to do. We're also trying to teach him the terminology of how to explain hemophilia, because when you're sort of young, he came up with some doozies. So we've been working with him to come up with the story that he would tell if anyone had questions about hemophilia. So we're making strides there. It's still quite a feat for a 5-year-old to articulate it and feel real comfortable answering questions, follow-up questions. But we're getting there.
Meeting Bobby was pretty special. He's a big personality with a lot to say and a heart even bigger than his voice. You might not know it from looking at him, but Bobby's just a little bit older than some of our other subjects and has experienced the intensity of the blood contamination crisis of the 1980s firsthand.
During our summer camp program in Northern California, with a huge percentage of us being and triple infected, HCV, HIV, and a bleeding disorder of hemophilia, it was this thing of, okay, I know this is eating at me because, come to camp one year, there are 73 people as an example. Then the next year it's down to 50 because throughout the whole year, you're getting phone calls of the guys just dying. Or, you're at school or at work and you get a call from other community advocates saying such and such is in the hospital and he's not going to get discharged. You need to go see him now. And so at that time, it was just band-aiding the situation and not really dealing with it. I mean, it got to a point of not wanting the phone call or not wanting to pick up the phone because you didn't know what was going to be said. I don't want to do not one more funeral, one more memorial. I just don't care. I don't want to hear it. And it began this process for me of shoving the stuff down.
Bobby's heart is big, and so are his ideas. An active advocate for equality, for mental health, and for the bleeding disorders community, it's hard to imagine he has any time for himself. So I was glad to hear in his follow-up call how in tune he is with his own mental health journey.
Fully got my nonprofit up and running. My nonprofit deals with youth, young adults, by people of color, indigenous nations, everything from workforce development, economic stability, relationship stuff, both the communication side of it. I'll be doing a keynote or something or other for Arizona's first self-advocate disability conference. I'm doing a session on healthcare advocacy that I call the Soup Mix, which is quite fun. I have a final paper to submit to start the process for my joint Masters of Divinity of Social Justice and Practical Theology. And then the last but not least, I have been asked to be on the founding elders board of a church plant in NorCal. So it's a lot going on, but good stuff. September of last year, with my therapist, we already had stuff in place where I was pulling back on sessions, which was basically, going from once a week to then once every 2 weeks, then once every 3, then once a month. Then we ended. Well, then I had a significant death from one of the founding elders of my home church right around Christmas time, and I got numb again. And I had no effect to it. I didn't cry, nothing. And I said, this is not good. And I put some other stuff in place. Because, I like to take pictures. I like paintings. I'm not artistic at all. And one Saturday, I just got up and did a couple paintings. Then I started photography. Yes, I went to the pawn shop and bought a camera from the pawn shop. Yes, I did. Been doing that. Then what was the other thing? I made one of the rooms in the house, I made it like a music meditation paint room.
But just a few short weeks ago, I took another step down my own path of mental health, and I enrolled myself in therapy as well. Hearing these stories from real people going through real situations and talking to Debbie brought to light my own needs and showed me just how accessible the resources can be. It is for these reasons and many others that this follow-on video would be incomplete without a check-in with Debbie as well. So how have you been since we started on this whole path?
I would have to say busier than ever. I'm just adapting what I'm learning as a therapist to the community and what I'm learning within the community to my therapy. Now that I've become a therapist, I'm just really able to see where the issues began and what can happen if we don't get it straightened out. Many times when people have a loss, they get into this mindset of this is how the world works. Things are always taken away from me. And so it's really acknowledging your loss, allowing yourself to have all the feelings that are associated with it, not mitigating those by going, oh my gosh, it's been 6 months, I should be over my dead cat by now. It's not about, it's having to do feeling only the feelings that you have, acknowledging them as real, and then it's about not developing absolute thinking or world views. A lot of my work as a therapist, though, is trying to get a sense of the origins of some of these thoughts and some of these self-concepts. It just has to do with this idea that there's something wrong with me. It's an interesting thing about therapy. By the time they go to therapy, something is so wrong in their life, they just feel miserable. And there's this thing to take it away, I gotta fix it and take it away. And the irony usually has to do with, no, it is just self-awareness and self-acceptance. The community, I really feel like, is voicing their opinions to their chapters, that we need more of this programming. I just knew in my heart that is what this film was going to do. Create that collective inertia that it's okay to talk about this and normalize the conversation about it. And it's been so rich as a panelist to watch that happen.
Life around us is always changing. It's complicated and filled with variables and challenges and obstacles, all of which can put stress on our mental health. But it's conversations like these and working towards our own awareness that paves the way for a brighter future filled with hope and light and happiness. I hope you enjoyed this Let's Talk follow-on video. If you want to access some incredible mental health resources, you want to explore the film on your own, or you just want to dig deeper yourself, please go check out letstalkmh.com and click on resources. Thank you to Sanofi Genzyme for supporting Let's Talk, and thank you all for watching, and I wish you a bright tomorrow.